Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash, Big Easy, and JK47. We got some fantasy football updates for you this week. Dash has done 3 fantasy football drafts and got A++ on all 3. Is that right?
Mr.
No, I got a
A+.
B+, an A+, and an A, I believe it was.
Well, the A+ makes the B+ an A, so you got 3 A's. That's how it works.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'm supposed
Fantasy
to.
guru.
So, fans, if you need to pay somebody to do your fantasy team, this is the guy. Hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread, or me at betjimthewin, because he doesn't do any social media at all. Dash.
Please believe. Let's get into this fantasy news here. And let's start with San Diego. They have confirmed they're going to run a running back by committee. Now, a lot of people were really high on Melvin Gordon coming into the season.
Is he the chairman of the committee?
Yeah, you'd still think he's going to get most of the carries and whatnot. But a lot of people thought he was going to be in every down back. And it turns out it isn't going to be like that. Now, they have Danny Woodhead, Brandon Oliver, and Donald Brown as well. I think they still have Ronnie Brown maybe out there as well.
That dude's still playing?
I believe so.
Good Lord.
But look, Melvin Gordon's still going to get a lot of the playing time, but Danny Woodhead is the guy I'm looking at that is going to come in and take a lot of reps away from Gordon if they are going to run by a committee.
He's the Whitehead.
If you're in a PPR league, man, I like Danny Woodhead as a flex play, where Melvin Gordon, I'm looking at him as more of a middle to low end running back number 2 right now. But Danny Woodhead, I'm telling you, he's going to have a lot of catches in his backfield, and I like him as a flex play, especially where he's being drafted way past the 10th round, 13th, 14th round, you can get this guy. I think that is a great addition. If you haven't drafted yet, or who knows, he might be on waivers right now. Dallas as well, they said they're going to run a
Eddie
running
B's
back
happy.
by committee.
He thinks Darren McFadden's getting all the carries.
Well, it looks
Going
like,
down,
from everything I'm hearing, they're saying Darren McFadden looks like he is the best running back in their system. Now,
Not saying much for the other running backs.
listen, I was high on Joseph Randle coming into the season. I said it many times because whoever is running out there should be able to gain some yardage, but if they split time evenly, it's going to be tough for someone to be a fantasy beast. But they're also going to run the hot hand. So if Darren McFadden can take control of his backfield and show what he showed several years ago, not in the past 2 years, I would say.
2 or 3.
But if he can show what the explosiveness he used to have, I mean, he could turn into the feature back here. But Joseph Randle, I mean, he was going in the 30s in drafts. Now, I probably wouldn't draft him there anymore, but I'm also not going to go out and drop this guy just because they say Darren McFadden is the starting running back. Because let's face it, the past 2 years, Darren McFadden has showed he wasn't very good. So he could fall off very quickly. First 2 games of the season, you could see Joseph Randle becoming the starting running back again.
McFadden's so injury prone, he could literally fall off the toilet and sprain his wrist or sprain his ankle or something. So if you got this dude as your number 1 back, sorry.
Well, listen, this guy's going in the way past 100, 150 even. So if you can get Darren McFadden at the back end of your draft, I'm all about that. And letting Joseph Randle fall to you, maybe you get him in the 10th round or something now, that's fine too. And let's not forget Lance Dunbar's out there too. Who knows, maybe Randle and McFadden both stink, and Lance Dunbar is the guy that gets the job in the end.
Nope.
Well, think of it this way with McFadden. This is probably going to be the best offensive line he's played with his entire career.
I believe so, too. That's why, I do take the chance on him here at the back end of the draft, even though he is supposed to be in a running back by committee. I mean, I'm taking a chance on all these guys, even Lance Dunbar in a deep league. If you're in a 14-team league or something at the back end of a draft, what is so funny over here now?
Lance Dunbar.
Why not, man? Do you like Darren McFadden? How high are you on Joseph Randle and Darren McFadden right now? I mean, why not Lance Dunbar?
I'm not interested in putting Lance Dunbar on my team in any position right now.
Listen, if you're in a deep league, man, what are you going to do? You got a 14-team league and you're in the 15th, 16th round. What are you going to do?
Draft Josh Harris.
See, that's where you're dead wrong. Another guy here, Houston Texans running back Arian Foster. I have been getting this guy in the 5th round in my drafts. And I mean,
I'm taking him in the 4th round in our upcoming draft on Sunday, just so you know, buddy.
Well, I'm not in it, am I? I'm not even in this
Oh,
draft.
that's right. You aren't in on. You suck, man.
You need one more person to even.
Yeah, Dash. Come on.
I'm sick of all these drafts, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just one more.
Keep talking about him, though. I mean, you're talking about him.
You should be good.
Well,
you should be able to do it
I
in your
can only
sleep,
be
dude.
in so many leagues. I don't want to be in 15 leagues. Then it gets watered down. Then it's no fun because you're rooting for every single player in football.
At least you always know you're going to have a good day at some fantasy team.
But look, Arian Foster, like I said, he's going in the 5th round. That's where I'm taking him. He might even go lower. Who knows? I'm not letting him go past the 5th round. But really, he's only going to miss 2 to 4 weeks, and he's still one of the best running backs in football in my mind. Easy has a different opinion on it. But yeah, I'm thinking 4th round now. Go grab him in the 4th round. I don't see why not. When I grab him in the 5th round, there is no name that even compares to him in the draft at that point.
Believe it.
What are people thinking then? He's Boston
People
and
think
done.
he's hurt for 8 weeks.
Yeah, people still don't know.
His initial
he
report
could
said like
miss
2 to
only
3
2
months. So
Yeah.
people got scared away real quick, and then they don't keep checking in these updates. And apparently they're not listening to the show, so they're not going to win.
Then you got the New England Patriots. There was Julian Edelman. We had him. I can't even remember exactly where, but he wasn't a very high pick. And if you look last year with Tom Brady, he had 92 receptions on 135 targets, 972 yards. This guy should start to get drafted a little bit higher now. And Tom Brady, he's no longer a 7th round pick, an 8th round pick. This guy, you got to go up and get right about where Ben Roethlisberger gets drafted.
I went out and picked up Reggie Wayne real quick as soon as I seen the Brady suspension got lifted. Because not that Reggie's going to be great, but they said he was working with the first team when he was in practice.
Well, you look. Yeah, go ahead.
Reggie Wayne's a consummate professional, you know.
He's 37 years old, though. That's all.
You know something though? I mean, what was that guy's name? Who blocked that punt?
Block that punt. There's been many block punts in the game.
I mean, who blocked that field goal? Rather, I mean, that Steelers Troy Brown.
Troy Brown.
I mean, he was an older, savvy veteran, and they made it work with him. And I think Reggie Wayne's twice the football player that Troy Brown was.
Yeah, I hated him.
Well, if you look, you could tell.
Steeler killer.
You could tell last season Reggie Wayne definitely took a decline in his game. But you look, I mean, they said the same thing about Randy Moss at one time too when he went to New
Yeah, and he
England.
blew up.
Exactly. Ian Brandon LaFell is injured right now. Reggie Wayne, he's going to get a lot of playing time, and who knows, Tom Brady may make Reggie Wayne good.
I mean, Reggie Wayne's no Randy Moss.
No, he's not. But they said Randy Moss was beat when he was going to New England. He was being drafted in the 5th, 6th round, something like that, and he turned out to be. I mean, they were breaking records that season. He was still the best receiver. In hindsight, yeah. How could you not take Randy Moss with a connection of Tom Brady? You know, you look back and you're like, what was I thinking? Why didn't I draft Randy Moss?
He might come back and play for Carolina.
But who knows? You might be saying the same thing about Reggie Wayne, too. Why didn't I draft Reggie Wayne at the end of my draft? It made no sense.
Well, he's definitely not going to make a Randy Moss impact.
He doesn't
15
have
touchdowns,
to.
baby.
I mean, like I
Alright.
said, Randy Moss
Now
is being
you're out of
drafted in the
control.
6th round then, and Reggie Wayne isn't even being considered in the top 200.
What I'm hoping easy is Wayne has 2 or 3 big games right off the bat, and then I can maybe trade him for somebody good because people have a wide receiver injury or they just get a little excited. So anybody who's in my league and listening to the show, disregard that comment.
Yeah.
But if you're not in my league, take my advice.
Here's another guy I want to talk about here. Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Andre Johnson. A lot of people had him ranked low in their rankings coming into the season, and I said that was too low for him. He had to be somewhere in the 45 to 50 range. I mean, I think that is a good spot for him, but now he's moving up into the 25 to 35 range, and I think that's a little bit too high. So this guy went from being a steal to now it seems like people are
Overvalued.
starting to reach for this guy. He is a good football player, and he's in a prolific offense.
With a great quarterback again.
Yes, with a great quarterback, finally, actually.
Well, yeah, not that Matt Shaw was great, but he was at least
He
solid
had a couple
for a
big
while.
years, yeah. But Andre Johnson, I mean, he's still the number 2 receiver out there. He's still in his mid-30s. He's not going to be a number 1 type receiver in fantasy. I still think in the 40s, mid-40s is a good spot for him to go. And don't go out and reach on this guy just because you heard so many good things about him throughout the offseason.
Well, you know he's going to be solid. There's no
Oh, yeah.
question about it. I mean, especially with Luck at quarterback, and then there's definitely like other weapons on that team too that's going to open up the field for this guy.
Was
Andre Johnson's like a solid slot position receiver. Like I don't even.
I'd take
You
him as a
can
number
have-
2.
If you're in an 8-team league,
Oh, an
he ain't
8-team
wa-
league,
You're in
yeah.
an 8-team league. If you're in a 10-team league, he might not even be a number 2. He might just be a slot.
I'd take him as a
Position.
number 2 in a 10-team league, I think. But look, in our draft, I believe he was drafted before T.Y. Hilton. I think he was drafted in the 20s, actually.
No, that's ridiculous.
It might not have been our draft. It might have been one of my other 2 drafts. But I think it was our draft that he went in the 20s. And then T.Y. Hilton went a few picks later.
It wasn't ours because I took T.Y. Hilton 2nd overall.
Not 2nd overall. You took him in the 3rd round, correct?
2nd round. No, wait. Yeah, 3rd round. You're right.
Yeah, you took Forte in the 2nd
Yeah.
round. Yeah, Andre Johnson went in the 2nd round in our draft. I think at the very end of the 2nd round.
Well, he's not. You don't take Andre Johnson over T.Y. Hilton, do you?
No, never.
Never.
Let's move on here. Todd Gurley. Now, the St. Louis Rams are probably going to use a committee approach until Gurley is caught up. Listen, he is still not doing any kind of pass protection drills with the team right now, so he's behind a little bit. So I expect them to run a committee approach at first with Trey Mason, and Benny Cunningham's going to get some playing time. But listen, don't give up on Todd Gurley. Don't drop him early because he's not the feature back. Look, his bye week is in week 6. So you think maybe by then they run a committee approach, but then after the bye, I'd think they'd come out and make this guy the feature back because they drafted him to be the feature back, and he is a monster, and I think this guy's going to be a beast, but it's going to take some time. So I'd wait until after his bye and let him come out and see if they turn him into the feature back by then, and I think they will. By that time, he'll be caught up, and I'm still looking for this guy to help teams down the stretch.
So I got Peterson, McCoy, and Gurley. So you're saying I'm good at running back after
You got
week
David
6.
Johnson, too, a guy I really like.
So do they play Seattle anytime before week 6? Because if they play them twice after that, there's no
It's not.
there's no points for them.
It's not quite true, man. If you go back and look, there are some guys that went and tore up Seattle's defense last season. And let's not forget, they got some guys holding out. They got some injuries to their defense right now.
Plus,
So
and even Arizona's stout at stopping a run.
yeah.
That's a question mark in my opinion, Gurley.
I mean, you can look at it many ways, man. You could say, I don't want Jeremy Hill because he got to play the Steelers twice who can stop the run very well. Well, don't give me that. They stopped the run with the best of them last season with a mediocre defense at best.
Yeah.
And Baltimore can stop the run too. But Jeremy Hill, it didn't matter. He went out and performed anyways.
Right.
Victor Cruz, a guy for the New York Giants, I expected to be the number 2 receiver. It doesn't look like he's going to start the season. He may miss the first game or 2. I'm not giving up on this guy either. Ruben Randall is supposed to run as the 2nd receiver right now, actually, and that's a guy you like, 47, I know. So Ruben Randall might get some nice fantasy points for you to begin the season. But I still see everyone saying Victor Cruz isn't going to do much for the Giants this season. He's not going to get a lot of playing time. I disagree. He's going to be the number 2 receiver when he comes back healthy, and he's still going to the talent doesn't go away just because of an injury. Injuries happen, and it takes time to come back sometimes, but Victor Cruz is an elite talent. He's not going to put up elite fantasy points because they got ODB out there, but Victor Cruz is still a good receiver, and I still draft him late or even let him go in the waivers because it doesn't seem like many people want this guy, and then pick him up after the first week or 2. I'm still high on Victor Cruz.
I am too. I feel he's either going to contribute or he's either going to give you points or nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm not going to drop him quick. I'm going to let the first 2 games play out, let him come back healthy, let him play a couple games and see if he can get more involved in this offense. I'm not going to be quick to drop this guy.
Yeah, but that's like you're saying, this is another week 6, week 7 type.
I could see more week 4 or 5, him starting to get more involved. Let's remember, Ruben Randall last season, this is a guy that had some big games early in the year, and then he started to fall off. In New York was coming out and saying they weren't high on this guy. They put him in the doghouse. I mean, Preston Parker actually became the starter over Randall at one point. So there is definitely a difference in talent between Victor Cruz and Ruben Randall. And who else? They brought another receiver in out there. No one near the talent of Victor Cruz. None of these guys are outside of ODB. How about Philadelphia receiver Nelson Aguilar? This guy has been confirmed the number 2 starter out there, the number 2 wide receiver behind Jordan Matthews. And it's not a surprise to us. I mean, we said it a couple times during the preseason that this guy was a pretty good receiver, and he'll probably be the number 2 out there. But it is confirmed, and I'm really excited about Nelson Aguilar too. I think this guy is going to be a beast. I mean,
large.
Yeah, he's large and in charge.
He is large. But, ball skills, just everything.
Yeah, he's almost a sleeper where he's being drafted. I think this guy could give you low end to middle number 2 receiver type production in fantasy.
I would probably even, and this is how I like to have fun when I play fantasy football, I'd put him as my number 2 ahead of Johnson.
Ahead of Andre Johnson?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I see no problem with that. Now, I'd probably draft Johnson before Aguilar because you know what Johnson can bring you, and he's in that prolific offense. But I could also see Aguilar definitely outperforming Johnson this year. He's a young guy, and he's very explosive. And, I'm not sure if they're going to let him kick or punt return at all because he is an important part of that offense. But you've seen teams do it before, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers with their best player pretty much in Antonio Brown. They let him punt return for years now. So, it's possible this guy gets it done in the return game as well.
What do you think about the quarterbacks in Philly, Jim?
I don't like Chip Kelly's. I don't want to say I don't like his offense. I don't like his offense for fantasy because he spreads the ball around too much and he runs the ball a lot. And you're going to see a lot of read option. And I know Sam Bradford's not really going to move around because both of his knees will crumble. But you got Ryan Matthews and DeMarco Murray out there. They didn't sign 2 number 1 running backs. Let's face it. Both those players were number 1 running backs for their team. Now Matthews may be more of a good, mix-up back nowadays as opposed to being a solid number 1. But they have the best 1-2 punch at running back in the league. I know Le'Veon Bell thinks him and D'Angelo Williams are. They're not. So with Kelly's offense, it makes me a little nervous. I'm not saying Aguilar couldn't put up the points. I try to stay away from offenses like that spread offense too much.
See, I differ from you. I actually think Philadelphia's offense isn't made for real football, whereas for fantasy, everyone can put up points. Outside, I wouldn't say Matthews is going to put up big points, but I think Murray is. I think Aguilar will. I think Matthews will. I think Sam Bradford's going to be a little better than you think as well.
It's just hard for all those people to put up points in the same offense.
Elite points, yeah. Elite points, I would say. You're not going to see the Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell points. Not to mention, I also think Zach Ertz could put up a better season.
Done with Ertz. Done with him. I'll never draft that dude again. I will draft you in my fantasy team before I take Ertz.
The week I play you, I might pick up Ertz.
Go ahead, and you'll get 0 points out of the tight end position.
We'll see, man. I might actually do it just because you said that. But no, Zach Ertz, he's going to have a better season than he had last year. Remember,
it can't be hard to have a better season than last year.
Dude, he wasn't that bad, man.
It was horrible.
You're out of your mind. All right, let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Julius Thomas.
Broken hand.
Yeah, he actually had surgery recently, and he is going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Jim, you said 5, so it's going to be
I heard 4 to 5, that's all.
So it's going to be the first part of the season here. Now, you might have to go pick up another tight end if this is your starting tight end, which is no big deal. There's tight ends out there. Look at Ladarius Green maybe from San Diego. He could give you 4 weeks of good fantasy value while Antonio Gates is suspended. But what this means for the Jacksonville Jaguars is Allen Robinson is going to be a target machine here at the beginning of the season. And I think he is actually going to have a good season altogether. But at the beginning of the season here, the first few weeks, I think Allen Robinson is a definite must-play in fantasy in 8-team leagues, in 10-team leagues, in 12-team leagues. I think this guy is a guy that you're going to want to start, and he's going to see a ton of targets. I'm talking PPR here, by the way.
PPR.
But he could still put up some yards and score for you, too. This guy is a very good receiver. It all depends on how good Blake Bortles is this season. He really needs to take a step up. But here in the first month or so, I think Allen Robinson is a must-play in fantasy. And then we'll see how it goes from there when Julius Thomas returns, because he's going to take a good amount of targets, too. Let's move on to the New Orleans Saints here. Marcus Colston is listed as he was listed as their second wide receiver behind Brandon Cooks. Recently, though, Brandon Coleman has been running as the second wide receiver out there, and this is a guy being drafted at 150, 200. In NFL.com, he was ranked number 800 and something. So this is a guy you can draft at the very back end of your draft. If you already had your draft, go look in waivers.
Brandon
He's probably
Coleman.
out there. Brandon Coleman. Go pick him up. He's going to be the number 2 receiver out there. And actually in his last preseason game, he had 4 targets, 4 catches for 84 yards. And that's not even in a full game, obviously. They're not playing in the whole game. This guy's Drew Brees' second target out there. Let's remember, Jimmy Graham's gone, and they have Ben Watson and Josh Hill as their tight ends. So that's nothing you want to target too much. Obviously, Cooks is a beast, so he's still the number 1. But Brandon Coleman, he's a rookie, he's 6'6". This guy is a guy that's going to put up fantasy production this season if he can maintain the number 2 receiver role. And Colston, he's going to be running in the slot, and we know he's getting older, so Coleman is definitely overtaking Colston already, and I expect big things from Coleman. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals. They have running backs David Johnson, Andre Ellington, and Chris Johnson, and my buddy just hit me up in a text or an email and asked me if he should pick up Chris Johnson and drop Lance Dunbar, who you were saying block Lance Dunbar. I said keep Lance Dunbar, leave Chris Johnson in waivers. Why? Because Joseph Randle and Darren McFadden aren't guaranteed to be beast out there in Dallas, and who knows, maybe Lance Dunbar can take over the lead role at some point. Whereas here in Arizona, Andre Ellington is going to have the starting job to begin the season. And they just drafted David Johnson, who I believe is a beast. He's excellent in the passing game, and he's better in between the tackles than Andre Ellington is. But those 2 guys, I believe, are going to play the main role in this offense out of the running backs, while Chris Johnson's going to be the third wheel almost, you want to say. But yeah, I'm high on David Johnson. Andre Ellington can obviously get it done in the passing game at least. I see it to be a lot tougher for Chris Johnson to take over these 2 guys than it would be for Lance Dunbar to take over McFadden or Randall. But David Johnson, I'm telling you, he's going to get more and more playing time as the season goes along, and I believe this guy could take over the feature role at some point, because Ellington's best part about him is in the passing game, and David Johnson is just as good in the passing game. And then you got the Carolina Panthers run game. You got Jonathan Stewart out there, who is obviously the starting running back. D'Angelo Williams finally gone now, so he finally got rid of that 1-2 punch that kept Stewart from being one of the top running backs in fantasy. However, Cameron Artis-Payne, they just drafted. This guy looks like he is a pretty good running back in his own right, and he could start to gain more playing time here as the season goes along. And in deeper leagues, again, Cameron Artis-Payne really isn't being drafted unless it's really late as a sleeper. I think this guy is starting to gain sleeper status.
Well, we all seen him last night just bowling dudes.
Yeah, he looked very good. So this guy is going to start to get more playing time as the season goes along.
Huge year last year in Auburn too. You know, he's not some undrafted rookie running back. He's
he's a beast.
Coming off,
Please believe. So who knows? Maybe Cameron Artis-Payne could take over most of the receptions out of the backfield too. Maybe he's the guy they use out of the backfield in the passing game, and Jonathan Stewart's more the guy between the tackles while Payne spells him a little bit. But Cameron Artis-Payne, a nice sleeper in a deeper league. How about Fred Jackson? Buffalo Bills cut him.
Got no job.
A lot of people pissed up in Buffalo.
I was reading about it. A lot of people love this guy in Buffalo. Thinks he was
the heart of the team.
The heart of the team.
Even there was people inside the organization that said he was the heart of the team.
Rex Ryan's a douchebag. We all know that.
Believe it.
But Fred Jackson, I kind of like it because now he's not behind LaShawn McCoy. He's behind no one at this point. But if you just pay attention, if he gets picked up by someone that needs a running back, look out because Fred Jackson could be a beast.
Yeah, but who needs a running back?
Cleveland.
Oh, he did end up signing with
No. Easy asked who needs a running back. I said Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland could pick him up.
Cleveland needs one.
No one's
Houston could have one to help until Foster
have
comes
as a
back.
backup? D'Angelo Williams or
Fred Jackson?
Fred Jackson.
Well, what's he make though?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing right now. You'd have to sign him.
Yeah, he got released.
Well, what's he gonna? He ain't gonna sign a contract for $750,000.
He might have to because the Bills are going to still pay him what they owe him because some of his money was guaranteed. So the Bills still owe him around $3 million this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, so he could play for veteran minimum or $1 million a year and still make $4 million this year. That's the thing. If you have Fred Jackson, don't drop him.
Yeah,
Wait till you find out where he lands before you decide what to do with him. Because just like Dash says, if he winds up somewhere that needs a running back, even if it makes it into the season, wait a week, 2, 3 maybe. If a running back goes down, he's going to be the first person they call, not Ray Rice.
Yeah, please believe.
Who? Ray Rice.
Right.
Dude, he's the hottest commodity in the running back market right now. Cleveland's had him in for a visit.
Yeah, there's definitely teams out there
I know.
that could use a running back of his caliber, and that could end up being I wouldn't say the full-time starter, but at least get the majority of the snaps with the team. If you brought him in right now, I think he could do it.
Believe it.
All right, how about the Washington Redskins? RG3 out, Kirk Cousins in.
Do we got to talk about these guys?
You mean RGC?
RG, see you later.
RG concussion.
What does this do for Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, Jordan Reed, and Alfred Morris?
If I had a Washington player, I'd get rid of him.
Either one of those people. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback.
Throws more passes to the other team than he does to his own team. So
this isn't about winning football games. This is about winning fantasy football.
His coach was the first one to come out and say that Cousins needs to throw less interceptions.
I would play.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't about real football.
You only got to pick one guy. You these other three, Garçon, Reed,
Alfred Morris, you got to have. Alfred Morris.
He's a running back. We're talking wide receivers.
Listen, I was reading an article that says when RG3 isn't the quarterback, Alfred Morris is not the same type of running back. He is 10 times better with RG3
Yeah, because they run the read option.
Oh.
There you go. Listen, it is going to take a step down for Alfred Morris, I believe. I mean, they're going to be able to focus on Alfred Morris now, so he's not worth where he's being drafted right now. You maybe wait not too long. I mean, he's still one of the better backs in football, so you're still going to want to wait or want to draft him somewhat early, maybe another round or two later at this point, though.
Why haven't I heard anything from the professionals talking about the run game taking a hit if RG3 is not in the game? Like, all you hear is RG, all that, Kirk Cousins, all this. And I've never heard anyone mention that Morris is better with RG3 at quarterback because of the
I was just reading an article yesterday.
Just look at the numbers when RG3 plays and Morris plays together, and then look at when they don't. I mean, All
right, well, does anyone in this room own a Washington Redskin on their roster?
No, I said
I have Alfred Morris.
You have Alfred Morris,
my flex player. Yeah.
And no one else.
That's nice though. Alfred Morris is a flex player. Yeah. It's still a good play. Jordan Reed, I said he was a sleeper tight end. I don't think this affects that too much. He's still a sleeper tight end because Kirk Cousins, I mean, he may be trying to get the ball to his tight end if he can't get the ball to his receivers. But Jackson and Garçon, I am trying to stay away from him. I was trying to stay away from him with RG3. Even without RG3, I'm still going to try to stay away from these guys.
Jackson's big player bust, and I've never liked Garçon as far as fantasy goes. So.
Redskins are garbage.
Yeah, they're in turmoil.
And then you got the Buffalo Bills naming Tyrod Taylor as the starting quarterback. What does this do for Sammy Watkins and Charles Clay, Percy Harvin, and LaShawn McCoy?
It helps McCoy the most because they're going to run the read option. They're going to run like a wildcat form of offense that Rex Ryan kind of likes more than regular offense. And I think it's going to open up the field a lot for McCoy. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor is a very mobile quarterback.
He's going to become the new RG Alfred Morris.
Well, he could end up having a good year. I mean, it happens.
Double T quarterbacks come in.
I already expected McCoy to get a ton of touches this season. I don't know how much this affects it. I think all these players outside of McCoy were going to be very inconsistent this season. Although Sammy Watkins, I mean, he is a beast player. If they can find a Taylor to Watkins connection consistently, I think he'll still have a good season. But other than that, I'm trying to stay away from most of these guys too. Outside of McCoy, you got to take the beast running back. Sammy Watkins, I mean, I had him in the 40s. I'm thinking more around the 60s.
PPR.
Or maybe 70, something like that. But I still want Watkins on my team, maybe as a flex or a backup wide receiver. But he's no longer a low-end number 2 receiver to me.
Believe it. You didn't talk about the one last sleeper dash that everybody wants to know about.
Give him to me. I'll tell you about him.
Tim Tebow. He's about to beat out Matt Barkley for the 3rd spot on the Eagles roster.
You know what?
If Sam Bradford goes down, do you play Tebow or Sanchez?
Before you answer that, and you have to give him a Tebow or Sanchez answer, I love Tim Tebow. I'm going to just say I love him.
You love Tim Tebow?
I love him.
I'm going to give it to Mark Sanchez, man. He showed at times last year he played pretty well. I mean, I know we all hate Mark Sanchez here, but last year with Philadelphia, he had some big games. He's not the perfect quarterback, but he can go out and win games in that offense still. I'd give it to Mark Sanchez. But who knows? Maybe Tim Tebow does get a shot, and who knows? They can win every game 6-0 if the defense is beast. But Jim just showed me a little article here. It looks like
quick spread report.
Yeah, give it to him.
The Denver Broncos and the Dallas Cowboys could be involved in trade talks to send running back Monty Ball down there, so this committee in Dallas could get even bigger. And if they're looking to trade for Ball, that means they're not sold on McFadden the way they're saying they are.
And you can tell Lance Dunbar to kick rocks.
Listen.
Come on now.
I never said they were real high on McFadden. I just said they thought he was the best running back out there, and it's not a bad idea to take a chance on him late, considering they think that. But yeah, like I said, it could be anyone in this offense, and I wouldn't just disregard Lance Dunbar because of Monty Ball either, man. You never know. Listen, Denver isn't high on Monty Ball for a reason too. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denver drafted him with a 2nd-round pick, and if they're already looking to cut ties with him, Monty Ball's a good straight-on runner, but that's about it.
But yeah, that'll just make things more murky in this Dallas backfield, and it's going to be tougher to figure out who you want. There is going to be someone that you are going to want by season's end in this backfield. We just don't know who it is at this point. Darren McFadden looks like he's going to have first shot. I think Randall might be the better running back. Maybe it's Monty Ball. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Lance Dunbar is a lingerer.
Well, that wraps up our fantasy coverage for the week. Thank you guys for coming in studio. Thank you, fans, for tuning in. Fans, you can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube, clicking on our fantasy updates for that fantasy coverage.